After Tony Ferguson's quick and easy loss to Michael Chiesa at UFC Abu Dhabi, he falls to a historic 8-fight losing streak, breaking old man BJ Penn's record of 7 losses in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is ranking those 8 losses. We're going to be taking in factors such as significance, how it affected Tony, contendership status, the performance itself, and yeah, let's get on to it. Crazy that this guy fell from a 12-fight win streak and turned it around and is trying to balance it out with his losing streak. It is what it is. The prince who never became king, as all are saying. And yeah, let's get into it. Starting with what I feel is the least significant loss of Tony's 8-fight losing streak, the fight against Nate Diaz. Take into mind, this was a quick turnaround after the Chandler KO. They promised him a new start at welterweight, and then everything got scrambled after he got moved from fighting Li Jingliang, or as Nate Diaz said, Chung Li. He got, swapped to fight Nate Diaz because of the Hamzat weight miss drama, and it suited them well. These were both old lightweight veterans who have bulked up to welterweight, and it was a very even fight for both of them. Not the same guys as they were back in their heyday, looking pretty shit technique-wise, let's be honest. But the thing that was good for them, both of them in this fight, they both had a very good chance when it came to winning. Tony was doing well with the leg kicks. Nate Diaz was doing well with the boxing. He checked one of the kicks that caused a big cut on Tony's shin. Yeah, it was an even fight. It was a fun fight. Not a good pay-per-view main event, though. Ruined the fucking card. Why was that a main event? But still, it was a balanced fight for both guys. And this loss didn't really mean too much for Tony Ferguson, as he's already been, he's fresh out the rankings. And Nate Diaz is, in the top 25 of the welterweight rankings, too. And it just made all the sense in the world for these veterans to meet. And even though he got submitted, he could have arguably been up 2-1 heading into the 4th round. So, yeah. Now, number 7, the loss against Paddy Pimblett. At this point, Tony Ferguson's already 0-6. We know he doesn't have any of the skill set, any kind of resilience anymore to his opponent's, output. And the fight was all centered around Paddy Pimblett and building up Paddy. It just didn't mean too much for Tony Ferguson himself, even though he got dominated and stuff. The fight wasn't about Tony Ferguson. It was about building Paddy Pimblett and clearing his name from that horrible Jared Gordon performance after a year off. So even though he didn't do anything, his choice for coaching and David Goggins was horrible. It just didn't mean too much. It's it is what it is. Tony was already on the decline. Yeah, just feed him to a contender in Paddy. At least make it a recognizable fight for one guy, and you can capitalize on a star's falling in Tony Ferguson. Now, this one you can alternate back and forth between the Paddy one, in my opinion, the Bobby Green fight at number 6, because Tony was doing good. He was hanging in there with Bobby for the first 2 rounds, even though Bobby clearly won the second round. I'd say the first round goes to Tony because he hit him with a good knockdown. He put him down, and he was hanging in there with the strikes. I know Bobby had a good last minute, but Tony hit him with the biggest shot of that round, and he was controlling the majority of the round until the final minute. But rounds 2 and 3 just showed he can't even be, he can't hang in with these guys anymore. The top 15 to 10 guys just can't. Okay, the Nate Diaz loss, exceptional. It's fine. It's a guillotine. The guy was on his way out. It was about Nate Diaz. It was 2 old vets. Whatever. You got stopped by Nate Diaz. Conor McGregor did when he was champion. It's fine. But, you go in there and stuff against Bobby Green and get submitted and handled for rounds 2 and 3. it ain't a good look. So yeah, you can alternate this one and the Paddy one, in my opinion, though. But I'll say this is a bit more significant, as it kind of mattered, and he still maybe had like a 5% chance to be ranked at least 15 at lightweight. So yeah. Now number 5, the Dariush fight. This is the same thing as the Green fight, but I should say, like, it took him out of the top 5. Clearly, it took him out of the top 5 at the time. He still hadn't had his good first round against Michael Chandler. His grappling was already not exploded, exposed by Oliveira. It just got doubled up on by Dariush. Nothing. It was a boring fight. Not boring. Sorry, let me not say boring every single time. It wasn't the most exciting fight. Dariush handled him, but Tony was still hanging in there and stuff. But the decision making was a little bit, for a guy like Tony Ferguson, who was like in beefs with like McGregor and Habib, and just lost to formidable guys and stuff. Just lost to an up and comer. Charles was not champion yet. He would be the next fight. You lost to an up-and-comer in him. You lost to Gaethje, the interim champ. All right. Find yourself at least a nice notable name. Wait for the McGregor Poirier trilogy loser or something. But instead, he chased the Dariush fight, which, it was good for Dariush because he was on a streak at that time. But from Tony's perspective, didn't make sense. His grappling got further exposed, and he got taken out of the top 5, and everything got like put to rest. Tony Ferguson will never fight for a title. So yeah. Now number 4, the Michael Chiesa loss that just happened. Look, at least like if Tony had a good performance, he took this to a competitive decision, not one where Michael Chiesa 30-27'd him on the ground. I would have put this at 8. Like, oh, Tony's old, but he hung in there. Like, we know he's over the hill, but at least he hung in there with Michael Chiesa to, go in there. All that talk, I haven't sparred in like 7 years. Like, fuck. I haven't sparred with my camp. I'm with my boys. I'm training. I'm a sports athlete all day, every day. What is it? I was on a football team that was 36-1. Something like that. He didn't say the football thing in his media day, but still. Point is, he got literally easily submitted, no resistance compared to his older fights, immediately latched on by Michael Chiesa, and we have not seen, like, Michael Chiesa is a good offensive grappler, not so much defensive wise, because he gets like caught in darces pretty easily, and some people, glimmer of hope type shit, saying Tony would latch one up on Chiesa. Like, come on, those arms ain't latching up shit. And yeah, just ran through him, immediately laced up the rear naked choke. And yeah, Tony, physique-wise, even in this fight, like, the age just looked right on him. Like, and what I mean by that is his like, just had a very fleshy body. It was like no density at all, even though he's like up at welterweight. He said he had to rehydrate or something, some shit like that. And yeah, just easily, like, he can't even be a good gatekeeper anymore after this fight. Not even, like, at least he was one when he fought Paddy after Green. But after this one, I was saying in my reaction video to the card, you gotta give him a Darius Flowers type matchup, an 0-3 guy. Just get the guy a win if he wants to stick around in the UFC. Because if you're getting exposed that easily by Michael Chiesa, who's a good, formidable name, then it just, like, you can't even be a good gatekeeper at this rate. You gotta give him a Darius Flowers matchup, something like that. An easy fight, a no-name, losing record in the UFC, not even someone who hasn't even won a fight in the UFC. The fact that we're looking at that for Tony Ferguson shows the significance of this loss. He just doesn't have it at all. Now, number 3, the Gaethje one. And I'm putting this at number 3 for a very, people might think, oh, this is number 1. This is what derailed Tony. Look, 12 fight win streak snapped. The Habib stuff like over completely. But like, take into mind like Habib retires and he still has like a window of opportunity to win one fight because he only got outstruck and completely done up on the feet. And still, Tony had a bunch of options. He'd only lost to Justin Gaethje in the rankings. That's it. Only to Justin Gaethje. A bunch of French matchups were there on the feet. Got schooled. Yeah, just took away everything from him. Justin Gaethje did, and yeah, it was a horrible. It took Tony's, I guess, kind of aura and everything. The beating was bad, but still, in my eyes, he had options. He was in talks with Poirier and stuff, and even when Habib retired and he was sitting on this loss, you could rebuild yourself with a fight and get a title shot. Like, you know, looking at it after Habib's retirement, he could have gotten a freer win or a better matchup than Oliveira, even like a number 10 ranked guy or something. Maybe he could have fought Gregor Gillespie, and who knows, maybe he would have definitely lost looking at how the Oliveira fight, went for him. But still, there were some hopes, even though he got crushed up on the feet and minced and the Habib dream went away. I'd say, and Prime Tony was taken away here too. This was the full-on, decline. Still, options were there. He could have, decided to go to welterweight. This is like what happened to Rafael dos Anjos when he fought Ferguson. Like, he got schooled for 5 rounds, went up to welterweight, rebuilt himself, got a title shot. Ferguson could have done the same thing. And still, looking at it, yeah, talks with Poirier, but the Habib thing, everything, done. I've said the same shit over and over again. But still, very significant loss in Ferguson's career. I put the Oliveira one above it because this was his chance. Alright, this was the fight, I guess, that could have put him into title contention. This could have easily put him into title contention. He could have fought Poirier. Because he would have beaten Oliveira. I think they would have maybe forced Poirier-Ferguson for the title rather than the trilogy if he had gotten past Oliveira. That's what I think would have happened, but I'm still not too certain because Gaethje would still be coming off that loss to Habib. But this was just like, we knew he got like busted up on the feet. Still, he had the talk about the grappling and stuff with Habib and he can hang around, he can scramble. Oliveira shut that stuff down immediately. I know definitely a way different type of grappler. Habib's, a ground and pound guy who passes and then, smashes you up and stuff, and Oliveira a bit more composed and chases the submission and, controls you well. But this just took a lot away from him, and Oliveira took a title shot off of him too here as well. And Dariush took the hope of it away. Oliveira actually took the full-on title shot away from him. And yeah, I just think this one was the cap in exposing Tony Ferguson's full game rather than, putting the Gaethje one above it just because he got minced up on the feet. This one showed that, he couldn't do any damage to, Oliveira on the feet and even on the ground, an area which, we could have, seen against Habib. This guy got fully exposed. Habib would have handled him in some cases. So that was the narrative, and I think that one was much more significant. And now to the number one, if you narrowed it down, it's the Chandler one. The front kick, like the most significant performance loss of Ferguson's losing streak. And I guess the worst part about it is we got prime Tony Ferguson one last round in round 1, and he didn't get a chance to show it for the last 2 fucking rounds. Absolutely looking good. The posture was there, the hooks, the want to get into exchanges and stuff, and the ability to survive on the ground well was there, slicing up, not slicing up per se, but elbowing up Chandler, checking his kicks on the feet, doing everything. But this just, blew the wind out of Tony's sails, shot him into fucking the atmosphere with that front kick, took everything away from Tony, everything. Like, couldn't even have the fun fights. He couldn't have the fun fights. Like, after this, he got matched up with Li Jingliang. Like, come on. After the Oliveira one, still could have looked at some fun names. Gaethje one, a bunch of fun names. Title eliminators still there because, looking at, Khabib's retirement and stuff. But this one, just absolutely, like, a fight he was winning. This was just very, very fucking significant compared to the other ones. Absolutely nuking him and his chin. Yeah, putting him face first out on the canvas. And yeah, sad to see the decline of Tony Ferguson. 0-8. Yeah, if he wants to fight again, you give him those 0-2, 0-3 fighters. A debutant. Like, you've given easy fights. Like, what is it? They brought in, who can I say? They brought in, like, Alice Ardelian. Like, I know she's a female MMA fighter, but 9-5 record. You can find somebody with, like, a 10-7 record. Bring him in. What else? I'm trying to remember some names. Charlie Ontiveros. I know he was kind of decent outside, but still weak record. Like, these are simple guys. Just give him to Ferguson. But yeah, those were my rankings in terms of his losses. The front kick, obviously, fucking just the end. Like, that's it. Nothing was the same after this one. And yeah, in terms of Tony's skill set and his chin and durability, give him one of those easy matchups. Let me know if you agree. And yeah, peace.